Environment, yeah, or what's another word?
Social condition.
Cool.
Context.
Context, okay. Or your environment or your in the context is how you're going to determine this whole idea about race and what it means and so forth. You have to take into consideration the lumping effect, put everybody in the same category. Or what the environment says who you are or can influence. The context. Anything else? Connotations of race there. All right, how about the next one then? What does it mean to, quote, practice race? Remember, Alfio, I told you this with number one, but one can also mention this expression too, of practicing race. That you can't be white unless you practice it. You can't be black or Asian. You got it doesn't mean anything until you internalize it and then you practice it. It's kind of like one of the examples I would say multiply, but Mr. Crane said a better example would probably be like Eminem. He practices black culture, so he identifies as black, although he's not. I mean, when you look at him, right? Another example is what I was saying about my professor when I was an undergrad, saying the importance of learning or speaking standard English to students who were at traditionally or historically black colleges. And one of the students said, "Oh, you want us to be white?" And the teacher said, "You can switch, you can switch." That's the same as you can practice that, but you can also practice your native dialect or black English, if you want to call it. Yes, Mr. Shields.
I like this friend that she is French, like British French, but she spent her entire life in Japan, like since I want to say toddler age. So she
Who's this?
one of our friends. She's
Okay.
Sophia, but she spent her life in Japan, and she basically identified with Japanese culture. She knows everything inside out. Would that be like another example? Of
Yeah, she's practicing. She's practicing being Japanese.
Even though that's like all she knows.
But does she consider herself that? Do other people consider her Japanese?
No.
Okay, then she's practicing being Japanese. She's practicing the race. And some people, you can do it to varying degrees too, I was talking about passing in one of the other classes, the history class, and one of the students was saying, well, how do you do that? So you forget everything about being black. And so we got into the issue about having children. And I said, that's a very important point you bring up, because if you decide to pass, if you're a woman, you can't have children. Why? There's a good chance that child might come out black as this thing here, no matter what color you are. You can't control DNA. So you know that when you take that chance of passing, and so you give up that idea about having children. All of that is a part of practicing your race or passing into another race. Not just the color. You have to take into consideration a whole bunch of other things. Okay, so what does it mean to practice? How do you spell that? Did you say culture? Anyone else? Practice a race?
Self-identify with a different culture.
Okay, self-identify. Okay. And that's what, that's a good word, because that's what they're using in this particular reading, self-identification, terms of self-identification. Remember in Hitler, what was intriguing for them, they looked at, well, that goes into the next question. So let's pull that up.